What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today I'm doing a very interesting comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus and the Google Pixel 3 XL. This is the most requested camera comparison that I've had based on my last video, so thanks for the support on that. But how will a single camera compare against a triple camera, and will the Google processing actually hold up versus a brand new phone that's out on the market? So let me know which camera looks best here and what sounds better. I'm gonna switch in between the sources, and let's test this in every lighting condition and see which one is the king of smartphone cameras. This is one of the toughest camera comparisons that I've done because they do go back and forth so much. I think it'll be more of a preference thing than a technical thing, but I was really surprised by the results. So let me break down what I found after looking at over 300 images side by side. All of these photos were taken on auto mode with all defaults enabled, since the Pixel Auto HDR Plus processing relies heavily on machine learning, so Scene Optimizer is also left enabled on the Galaxy S10 Plus. There are two big differences when it comes to the daylight photos. The Galaxy S10 Plus tends to land generally warmer, while the Pixel tends to land naturally colder, so this is purely preference. Normally, the Pixel 3 XL is the king of putting more contrast in photos, giving it that dramatic look, which it's well known for, but it's surprising how much contrast the Galaxy S10 Plus gives in certain shots, sometimes even more than the Pixel 3 XL, which I was really surprised by. The Galaxy S10 Plus does show higher dynamic range, especially in the cloud details. Also, the shadow detail is much better, which is showcased consistently throughout the images. The Pixel tends to crush shadow detail to give you more contrast to the shots, so the blacks are crushed. So if you like this style of processing, you're going to love the Pixel. I feel like they both give you a ready-to-share image right out of the camera, but the Galaxy S10 Plus gives you more room to edit the photo afterwards, so let me know which one that you prefer. While the S10 Plus in most cases produces the brighter pictures, it does tend to overexpose by a stop or so you'll get some clipping like on my shoes here. The Pixel does a better job of balancing the light sources, but I know that some people like this brighter look, and with the increased shadow detail, I think a lot of consumers will prefer this look, but slight overexposure is something that you need to be aware of on the S10 series. When it comes to the front-facing camera, I still think that the Pixel is the one to beat. Contrast and sharpness are incredible, and while I think the colors are more natural on the S10 Plus during the day, the Pixel is unmatched, but it does darken skin tones, and you can see every imperfection or blemish on your face. Plus, the Pixel has a true dedicated ultra-wide lens, so it is wider. When it comes to portrait mode, they both have great depth and edge detection. It's still incredible that the Pixel can do this with just a single lens and software, but if you look closely, they both messed up in certain parts, so they will go back and forth. When using objects, I feel like the S10 does a better job with natural blurring. Having that extra lens, the Pixel likes to cut out the image and just add a blur effect to the background, but the S10 has actual roll-off closer to a DSLR, but man, is the white balance just totally opposite on both of these cameras. The Pixel does a little better job with moving subjects, must be that AI that helps, but I really dislike the skin tones on the Pixel in certain lighting conditions. It's really saturated and unflattering in my opinion. Here are a few more samples of higher dynamic range on the S10 Plus. It's really noticeable during sunset. Look at the trees where there are so much more details shown by the S10 Plus. Like I said earlier, the Pixel processing really loves to crush the shadows and blacks to give it that super contrasty look. And if you like that look, you're going to pick the Pixel in every picture. And if you do, that's okay. But honestly, I went into this camera comparison thinking that the Pixel 3 XL was going to basically crush the S10 Plus in every category, but I'm pleasantly surprised, and I can't stress how awesome this wide-angle lens is. It's a great option to have in situations like this. A little after sunset, where it's not quite dark yet, but there's still some light, the S10 Plus's brighter exposure and shadow detail really shows an advantage, providing more detail and just a better shot overall. I took these pictures over and over and over again just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, but let me know what you think. I think the images speak for themselves here. It may look like a blowout, but here's where it gets confusing. It's not like this in every single case, and there were times where the Pixel did do better, especially as time went on and light really started fading away. The higher contrast and dramatic processing really helps, but once again, the white balance flip-flops with this lighting change. While the S10 Plus was landing warmer on daytime shots, now the Pixel lands warmer and the S10 Plus consistently lands cooler. I know the Pixel only has one lens, but it's really impressive what the digital zoom can do. The telephoto is really no match for, I think, the S10 Plus does better, and it should. But when you fully zoom in, look at all that detail the Pixel is able to retain and stitch with that super zoom feature. It's really mind-blowing. When it comes to 4K video, it's a clear win for the Galaxy S10 Plus. Also being able to shoot up to 4K 60 frames per second, where the Pixel is limited to 4K 30 frames per second. The Pixel daytime video has improved a ton actually, but the S10 Plus looks much sharper with better dynamic range. So if you shoot a lot of video, I will go with the S10 Plus. Stabilization is really great on both phones, especially when you're walking. The Pixel uses electronic stabilization while the S10 Plus uses OIS, but they are both doing really well here in 4K. But the game changer is when you have dramatic movement or want to film fast action, the Galaxy S10 Plus has the new Super Steady video. And look at this while I'm running. The S10 Plus looks incredible, but the downside of it is that it drops to 1080p when using this feature. So let's get into what everybody's been waiting for, and that is low light performance. While waiting for the fireworks, I took a few pictures of the castle before it got completely dark, and what I noticed is that the Galaxy S10 Plus does take a brighter shot in most scenarios with more detail, but I did notice peeping in that the Galaxy S10 Plus has slightly more noise in the shot, even with the f1.5 aperture. So in these shots, it's a preference thing. The S10 Plus captures more in the clouds and more texture details on the castle, but the Pixel 3 XL just looks amazing with that dramatic contrasted look and more saturated colors. So technically the S10 shot is better, but I actually prefer the Pixel 3 XL shot. When it comes to nighttime 4K video, they are both pretty noisy, but the Galaxy S10 Plus video has better colors, more detail, and just looks better overall. So if I had to rely on one camera for capturing my nighttime vacation moments, I would pick the S10 Plus. And let's not forget having that option of capturing this entire scene in wide angle is also amazing. It's really useful to get the scale of this entire scene. I just held both phones up in the air and just started shooting rapid fire to see which phone I could get the best action captures of these fireworks. And I feel like the Pixel 3 XL consistently took the better shots in auto mode with better exposure, balance, and sharpness. So if you put the S10 Plus into Pro mode, you could probably work out all of these exposure issues, but this is a pure auto test. And for reference, the Pixel 3 XL does not have a built-in Pro mode in the stock camera app, but nonetheless, the Pixel 3 XL impressed me with flying colors here, and to me is the clear winner. The f1.5 aperture does let more light in super low light conditions, creating that brighter picture and even with less noise, but the lack of detail is the issue. It tends to smear that image with aggressive noise reduction, but it does go back and forth where sometimes the Pixel 3 XL decides that it wants to have more noise in the shot as well. And in this more artistic capture, the Pixel just went crazy trying to capture the sky detail, making it Noise City in the upper right corner. While it does go back and forth, I felt like more consistently the Pixel had better balance of exposure when it comes to harsher and brighter lighting conditions. The sharpness difference is really huge for the Pixel. Look at the brick here, it's so much sharper. And of course it depends on the situation, but especially with night sight, you can really capture more detail. It's really close with the nighttime shots, but when you factor in the low light selfies, I think the Pixel does a better job with better sharpness, capturing more realistic lighting and colors too. And even though that the Galaxy S10 Plus creates a brighter selfie for sure, the details and color replication is a clear win for the Pixel 3 XL. So the decision for me here is extremely difficult, and it's hard for me to declare an actual winner. If you look at the daytime pictures, they were both really great, but the Galaxy S10 Plus displayed better dynamic range and better shadow detail, but at the cost of some overexposure. The Galaxy S10 Plus also has better video in daytime and nighttime with up to 4K 60 frames per second, while the Pixel 3 XL video really needs some improvement. The portrait mode on both are great, but I do think that the Pixel creates an incredible image, especially with humans, but it can be inconsistent with objects like the stop sign and create some unrealistic skin tones. But there's no argument that the Pixel's front-facing camera in both lighting conditions is unmatched. At night, I felt like there was an edge to the Pixel, and those firework shots really showed machine learning can really capture some unbelievable images. They went back and forth so much, But for the masses, I feel like the S10 Plus is a more well-rounded camera with more features, and also having that ultra wide angle camera is super useful. So if I had to pick just one, I would surprisingly pick the Galaxy S10 Plus because I also shoot a lot of video along with a ton of pictures. The real marvel here is that the Pixel 3 XL is a much older phone, but it still keeps up very well, even beating out the S10 Plus in certain scenarios with just one camera on the back. And that just goes to show you how far ahead Google is when it comes to computational photography, and it's stunning what you can get off of the Pixel 3 XL. Some images are just showstoppers. This makes me both excited for the Note 10 and the Pixel 4 because it can only get better from here. We can easily call this an even match, but I want to know from you guys, which one do you think has a better camera? I tried to be as fair as possible in this comparison, so be nice in the comments. No reason to argue because both of these phones are beasts in their own right. Subscribe for more camera comparisons like this. Check out the other ones if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.